Right, so coming to the end of May, and it's time for my What Am I Sowing and Growing guide for June. And as I always do, I just like to have a skim round, talk about the things that I've done in May and how those have gone, and the progress of stuff in the greenhouse. So I'll just pick my guide up here, and there'll be a link to the guide in the description down below. So this is the guide I'm looking at. It's for May, and what did I do in May? Well, I sowed my winter carrots. They've just germinated, actually. I'm really happy with those. And actually, just today, I went through and sowed spares into a few gaps and did a bit of a weed. I did 2 batches of sweet corn, there and there. They're looking pretty good. I'm pleased I did them in these root trainers because it's been really foul weather. It's been quite warm, but it's been so windy, incredibly windy, that all have been blown over in the gales that we've had. And yeah, I didn't need to do any lettuce because I had loads of lettuce. I've got loads of lettuce out here. Probably too much lettuce, to be honest, at the moment. But I did do a tray of salad onions, Summer Island, and those are out there. They have all germinated really nicely. And I did my trial sowing of my autumn flowering brassicas. So I've got graffiti just germinated here and just pricked out today, calabrese, red cabbages and cauliflower. Just wait for the air ambulance to go over. And I've just potted on my leeks for spring and my leeks for winter up there, and I've already got in the ground my leeks for summer and autumn. I've got a bit of fennel down there. My golden purslane's coming on quite nicely down here. Last succession of tomatoes down there. Last succession of Brussels sprouts there. A few melons waiting to be planted out. And that is pretty much it for the greenhouse and everything that I've sown. I think apart from just hiding behind those tomatoes up there, there's my French and runner beans waiting to be planted out. So, how are things going in here? Well, finally, the tomatoes are ripening. So I sowed these tomatoes back in February, and they've been pretty pampered in here. I've looked after them well, so I'm really pleased that they've finally started to ripen, and we've got quite a nice crop on them actually. I've got a lot of tomatoes to come and taken a lot off already, but yeah, they're doing pretty well. So that is the earliest I've ever had tomatoes. Thanks to the greenhouse. Not the earliest though that I've had cucumbers, but certainly the earliest that I've had cucumbers grown outside. So previously I've had them earlier in the conservatory, but it's a bit of a pain to grow cucumbers in a conservatory. So it's much nicer to be growing them in the greenhouse. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the harvest off these. I'm picking about 10 a week at the moment, something like that off this plant, and maybe 1 or 2 off the 2 smaller plants, but that's enough just to keep us going. French beans are coming on really nicely there. They're all in flower now, and they're looking a lot healthier than the ones in the polytunnel. And I think that will give me a harvest until those French beans that are up on that shelf there are giving me a harvest outside. The peppers are coming on really lovely. I'm very pleased with those. They're just starting to turn now, so I should think we'll have ripe peppers sometime in June. And what else have we got in here? Oh yeah, the courgettes. Loads of courgettes. Stacks and stacks. So that's today's harvest. Admittedly, I don't pick that many every single day, but every 2 or 3 days or something like that, a good handful of courgettes and a good little, good little handful of cucumbers as well. So let's switch to June and and just talk about what I'm sowing in June. So, as I said, this guide that I'm looking at here, I'll put it on the screen so you can see what I'm looking at, but I'll also put a link to it down in the description. So, another tray of salad onions. I do a tray of salad onions every month, and I'm trialling side by side Anita and Summer Island to see which one does best. I've tried, I don't know, maybe a dozen different types of salad onion over the years to harvest, well, to grow through summer for a harvest in sort of late summer and early autumn. And the best one so far has been Summer Island, but Anita might top it, we'll see. I've done my first sowing of claret and red fire purple sprouting broccoli back in May, the end of May. In fact, I did it today, and today is the 29th. And so about a week, 2 weeks later, I do another succession of red fire and claret, and they're designed so that I get a relatively stable harvest of purple sprouting broccoli from about late March through to late April, early May, something like that. And that's kind of what I consider my hungry gap period for flowering brassicas, and then I got a lot of calabrese and cauliflowers and things like that that come up after that. Sometimes overlaps a little bit. I'm doing another succession of beetroot that will go after my early kale is harvested. I'm just doing beetroot, the Detroit 2, and Boldor golden beetroots. Doing my next succession of all of these cauliflowers and calabrese here. So I'm doing Clapton, cauliflower, calabrese, Monclano, calabrese marathon, and that's it for the flowering brassicas. And what I'm doing there is actually I think it's quite interesting, because what I decided to do was in my allium bed, I put round the outside a ring of garlic, so that'll be harvested towards the end of June. That's when this batch of flowering brassicas will go in. And then I put weeding paths in between the beds of onions and shallots, and I'm going to plant into those weeding paths this succession of cauliflowers and calabrese. And obviously they'll be fairly small plants when they get planted into the weeding paths. I won't need those weeding paths because by then it'll be July, and I can just leave the onions to grow then. And then as I harvest the onions, I'll be able to harvest these from the gaps that the onions create. So I'm hoping it means that I get much better utilisation of the onion bed than I normally do, because I don't normally have the onion bed fully replanted as I go into winter. And then in the gaps anyway, between the calabrese and the cauliflowers where I've taken out the onions, I'll put field beans in there. So I'm going to do 4 or 5 tubs of baby sugar snacks carrots for eating for salads in autumn and early winter. And those tubs have currently got transplanted salad onions in them. So I had to take those salad onions out of what is now the carrot bed. I couldn't eat them all, so I just popped them into these tubs, and very soon all those salad onions will be eaten and the carrots will go in. And I've got some more lettuce. I'll let you look at the lettuce varieties because there's a lot of different lettuce varieties, but you'll be able to have a look at those. And some of the varieties on this list as well I have chosen because they are resistant to lettuce root aphid, and I tend to get a lot of lettuce root aphid in lettuces that I grow in the kitchen garden. I don't tend to get that problem on the allotment for some reason. So the ones that go in here, and I've marked them up, those are the ones that are resistant to root aphid. And I am going to just try one batch of spinach Santa Cruz, and I'm going to give it a go. It's meant to be slow to bolt. I'm growing it at the moment actually. The leaves are massive. But anyway, I want to see if I can get a little bit of a harvest off spinach in summer. I tried it with Rubino last year. It didn't work really. I only got one pick off it before it went to seed. So we'll see. I'll try and grow it in a shady spot. And that is it. So again, May was very quiet from a seed sowing point of view. June is also very quiet from a seed sowing point of view. And I'm pretty pleased about that because I'm pretty busy doing non-gardening related things, but I'm pretty happy with the way things are going. Greenhouse is looking lovely. The allotment plot is all fully planted now, so I'm only just filling in gaps as a harvest beds. I think I'm done. My name's Steve. This is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.